As with most long-running animated series, The Simpsons writers have maintained a sensibly fluid and elastic approach to their ongoing continuity, whereby what happens in one episode won't necessarily be picked up in the next. But at the same time, sometimes an episode makes a declaration or implication so fascinating that its absence in future episodes is totally bafflingly bizarre. But many fans never forget, and will routinely bring these details up at every possible opportunity. And so with that in mind then, I'm Ellie with What Culture, here with 10 important details that are almost never mentioned in The Simpsons. Number 10. The Simpsons' home has a rarely seen rumpus room. As much as even a casual Simpsons fan likely assumes they know The Simpsons' home like the back of their hand, it's easy to forget that there's an extra room in the house we rarely catch a glimpse of. Behind the garage and next to the kitchen is a rumpus room, a recreation room basically. It was first seen in the Season 2 episode Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, and has appeared in a grand total of just 8 of The Simpsons episodes to date. The room's shockingly meagre showing throughout the show was eventually mocked in the Season 25 episode White Christmas Blues, where Marge tells Homer, well, there's a rec room off the kitchen, but sometimes it's there and sometimes it isn't. Our house is very odd that way. Nobody involved with the show has offered up notable comment on the room or why it's been so fleetingly included throughout the series, which only makes its existence that much weirder. Number 9. Herb's baby translator would have totally changed the world. While The Simpsons has a fairly loose approach to its own internal continuity, one of its most societally wide-reaching implications occurred in Season 3's classic episode, Brother, Can You Spare 2 Dimes? The episode marks the second appearance of Homer's half-brother Herb, who invents a device which can translate baby babble into articulate spoken English, allowing parents to respond directly to their children's needs. The product is unsurprisingly an instant hit and brings Herb great wealth once again, yet the device's existence has never been mentioned again, nor has it even appeared in Easter egg form in any episode. Presumably the writers realised that the world-changing inevitability of such a device was just too challenging to deal with. Even so, for all intents and purposes, this hardware absolutely exists in the show's universe and would have fundamentally altered child rearing around the globe. Number 8. Hank Scorpio seized control of the East Coast. Few one-off Simpsons characters have made as much of an impact as the legendary Bond villain-esque megalomaniac Hank Scorpio, who appeared in Season 8's You Only Move Twice. The last time we physically saw Scorpio, he donned a flamethrower while fleeing the impending US Army, and at episode's end, a newspaper revealed that he'd managed to seize America's East Coast. While this is obviously meant to be a throwaway gag, we've never canonically seen Scorpio since, nor has this plot thread ever been resolved either way. Despite abandoning his Globex HQ, Scorpio evidently still had the resources to take control of a major chunk of the US landmass, which is home to around 120 million people. Much like Herb's baby translator, the implications of Scorpio facing off against the US government are just too messy for the show to address in any major way, so fans are basically left to assume whatever they want. Maybe Scorpio still holds the East Coast, or perhaps the army took it back. Number 7. Barney has a mystery relative we never see again. The earliest episodes of The Simpsons include a lot of experiments and throwaway moments that ultimately weren't crystallized in the show's canon moving forward, with one involving the presence of a small child in Barney Gumbel's life. Early on in the second season episode Principal Charming, keep a close eye on the line at the DMV and you can see Barney standing in line with a young boy on his shoulders whose hands are covering Barney's face. This boy has never been seen in the show since, leaving eagle-eyed fans to speculate on whether Barney has a secret son who he later abandoned per his drinking problems. It's of course entirely possible this is the child of a relative or friend, but given that there's never been a mention of Barney having siblings and he isn't exactly overflowing with friends who would willingly leave a kid with him, it could very well be his own son. Though Season 4's Selma's Choice revealed Barney to have fathered countless children through his regular donations to the local sperm bank, this seconds-long glimpse at a child implies Barney may have had and sadly abandoned his own child in the past. Number 6. Janey and Lisa are former best friends. It's easy to forget that Lisa's best friend in the show's earlier seasons was Janey, who was steadily phased out as the series went on, to the extent that she's basically a background character these days. Though Janey and Lisa's friendship was hardly a flawless, conflict-free one, Janey memorably mocks Lisa for becoming a vegetarian. A concerted effort was made by the show's writers to downplay their interactions without ever offering an explanation as to why. Obviously, it's incredibly common for friends to naturally drift apart during their formative years, and Janey certainly wasn't ever a frontline fixture in even the show's earlier days, but it's still a little odd that their apparent rift was never categorically addressed on screen. Number 5. Characters age at totally different rates. One of the show's most discussed aspects by fans, yet one that's rarely directly addressed in the show itself for somewhat self-evident reasons, is the characters' general lack of aging. The overwhelming majority of The Simpsons characters simply haven't aged in some 33 seasons. No matter that the passage of time is regularly marked in various ways, such as characters having birthdays. The characters mostly being frozen in time has also resulted in backstories being retconned and updated over the years to reflect time's passage, though there are a few instances where supporting characters have indeed grown up while everyone else remained the same age. The most notable example is surely Apu's nephew Jay, who appears as a child in Season 4's Homer the Heretic, and then reappears as a young adult in Season 27's Much Apu About Something. Selma Bouvier's adopted daughter Ling has also progressed from a baby to a toddler, which is especially amusing considering that Maggie Simpson has remained a baby for more than 3 decades. This is definitely one of those things that fans just need to roll with, though it is fun to consider the possible metaphysical explanation for some characters aging while others don't. Number 4. Lisa is an Elon Musk fangirl. In terms of Simpsons episodes that have aged like milk left out in the sun on a scorching hot day, they don't get much worse than 2015's The Musk Who Fell to Earth. The episode revolves around entrepreneur Elon Musk, who pays a visit to Springfield and spends a lot of time with The Simpsons. Yet the episode largely consists of the writers cozying up to Musk and effectively lionizing him as a ne'er-do-wrong super genius. It doesn't help that Musk has little comedic timing and what passes for a storyline goes nowhere interesting. But its most egregious sin? Turning Lisa into an acolyte in the cult of Musk. Lisa refers to Musk as possibly the greatest living inventor, and while the man's industrial achievements aren't to be sniffed at, Lisa's uncritical brown-nosing of a figure who has increasingly shown himself to be problematic isn't a great look. Granted, the episode was released at the peak of Musk's fandom, before the tide of public opinion began to turn against him. Yet, considering the state of Musk's personal reputation these days, the show's writers' room would probably rather you forget Lisa ever blindly championed him. While fans have criticised the Lady Gaga-centric episode Lisa Goes Gaga for its own celebrity worship, at least in Gaga's case, she's a seemingly harmless public figure. Furthermore, it doesn't feel like she straight up paid the Simpsons team to make an episode extolling her alleged virtues. Never forget. Number 3. The Disappearance of Troy McClure and Lionel HUTZ. Troy McClure and Lionel HUTZ are undeniably two of the most popular and entertaining supporting characters from The Simpsons' first decade on the air. A washed-up actor and shyster lawyer respectively, both voiced terrifically by the late, great Phil Hartman. Both characters were tragically retired in the late 1990s following the devastating murder of actor Hartman, and though the show has since recast some dead voice actors, in Hartman's case, the decision was made to usher McClure and HUTZ out of Springfield. And due to the sudden nature of Hartman's death, the characters make totally unassuming exits from the show, with their absences remaining unexplained to this very day. While it is of course entirely possible that people like McClure and HUTZ would simply move away to pursue opportunities elsewhere, especially if McClure's career ticked upwards or HUTZ got disbarred, it's certainly odd that their departures were never mentioned in even a cursory fashion. Number 2. MILHOUSE'S parents are cousins. It was long speculated by fans that something odd was up with MILHOUSE'S parents, given the frankly worrying physical resemblance they bear to one another in terms of hair colour, glasses, and even the shape of their faces. Well, the truth finally came out in Season 26's Let's Go Fly a Coot, which, while mercifully not revealing the pair to be siblings, confirmed that Kirk and Luann Van Houten are indeed cousins, and Milhouse has a forked tongue as a result. Of course it happened to Milhouse, of all people. There have admittedly been several wink-wink references to this possibility throughout the show, such as Luann mentioning that she's from Shelbyville, where it is indeed legal to marry your cousin, but the outright confirmation seemed like the show's writers finally throwing fans a bone, presumably with the hope that they would then shut up about it for good. Number 1. There's only one bridge out of Springfield. Matt Groening and company have been relatively careful to not reveal too much concrete information about Springfield's geography, namely its precise place in the US and especially the state it exists in. Yet one of Springfield's most peculiar confirmed details is that the only road access out of the city is by way of a single bridge, Springfield Bridge, due to the overabundance of corruption in the city's operational infrastructure. The bridge was even destroyed by a comet in Season 6's Bart's Comet, though soon enough rebuilt. While this is all obviously intended as a satire of what happens when the wrong people are put in charge of a city's money, it's fascinating that tens of thousands of people rely on a single bridge to travel in and out of the city. Really though, you're better off just thinking of Springfield as a geographically fluid location that isn't tethered to a totally fixed design or topography. And that concludes our list. If you can think of anything that we missed, then do let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.